I'd like to officially welcome you to tonight's program, Tech Topics, sharing files from a mobile device. My name is Chris, and I'm joined here tonight by...
I'm Chloe.
Hey, Chloe. Chloe's going to be presenting tonight's program, so without further ado, I'm going to turn my camera and microphone off, and I will let Chloe get started here.
All right, getting started with Tech Topics, sharing files from a mobile device. I'm going to start with our book shout out. It's available on Hoopla, which means that no matter who has it checked out right now, you are also able to have it checked out. It's File Sharing, Rights and Risks by Jason Porterfield. I will reference one of his quotes from the book. It goes into, starting from the basics, it's kind of a broad overview of rights, risks, privacy, and just the limitations that you should be aware of with sharing files. So going into file sharing, to quote Porterfield, is the act of publicly or privately sharing data with others. The data is made available so that any number of other people may read, view, change, copy, or print it. So how does it work? Files can be shared from your device, whether that is a phone or a tablet. You can share it on websites or different applications, or even via Bluetooth. So photos, videos, documents, spreadsheets, and the like, they can all be shared using platforms like sending it via email or Facebook, social media, Instagram, as well as cloud storage platforms such as Google Drive or Dropbox. As far as Bluetooth goes, if you have an iPhone, you can use AirDrop, and that will drop to someone nearby who also has an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac. You'll be able to share with them contents of contacts, documents, etc. And Android has a similar feature as well that's been released recently, that's Android Share Nearby. So something to know about file sharing before you do share is that you have to have the right or permissions to share the file. So that means that if you're sharing music or videos or any other type of file that is not directly your own, you can't just go and share a Britney Spears song. It's copyrighted or it's got intellectual property protections, and that can mean penalties such as fines or even jail time, depending on the rights and the protections of those files. Another thing to be aware of is how you're sharing the file, especially if it contains sensitive information. And that can mean anything like if you have to share medical documents with everything that's going on right now with your work, or sending anything back for telehealth appointments, just be aware of how you're sharing and what's in place to protect your information. So these are some screenshots of how it works. Starting with an iPhone, many of the apps are going to be similar with their interface. So I just chose the Photos app. So in the lower left, you'll see that there is a share menu icon. And whenever you select that, it gives you the share menu expanded, and it gives you a multitude of options. So that first line there, you can see where it says iPad and it has that little white and blue icon. That's with AirDrop. So I'd be able to wirelessly share that with someone else without it having to go through the internet. With iPhone, you can look at additional options for sharing by just swiping where those icons are below that, and also swiping up from the bottom gives you additional options. Moving on to Android, just for continuity, I chose the Photos app with that as well. And the share menu in this case is on the lower left. It's those three dots that together look like they're connected. Depending on the kind of Android device you have, that may be in a different place. So once you select that, it's going to open up the share menu, but not as much. Just like with the iPhone, it is a predictive menu. So those first options you can see are blurred out. It's saying, okay, you normally use this app to share files. Do you want to share with these people that you normally do share with in these apps? However, if you're looking to share in a different way, you can select the More menu in the bottom right. In this case, it may be in a different place on your device. And whenever that happens, it extends all of the way, and it shows you all of the apps and the different options you have to share your files, whether that means uploading documents or homework to your different school platforms such as Canvas or Blackboard, or to cloud storage, which would be like Google Drive, Dropbox, emailing to friends and family, and that kind of thing, as well as giving you the option to share via Bluetooth. So going over some of what I said earlier, thoughts about sharing files from a mobile device. Be sure before sharing that if an image or music, artwork, it's not your own, it can be protected, and that can mean serious penalties, such as jail time, fines, and it does vary depending on the type of file it is and the protections that it has in place. Another thing to consider with sharing files via Bluetooth with AirDrop or Android Nearby Share is confirming that the file is sending to the correct recipient. So if you need to send a contact to someone else nearby, you need to give them someone else's phone number. Hey, check out this lawn care person. I really liked how they've treated my yard and kept up with things and the communication. Just make sure, since that is contact information, and you're sharing it with the right person. With today's day and age, many devices have Bluetooth. And so you just need to make sure you're sending it to the right person. And that just goes even further with more sensitive information, such as health information. Yes, that's it. I think we'll move on to questions.
We do have some questions coming in, and again, I'll remind our audience to feel free to post your questions to the questions section in your control panel, and we'll be happy to get some answers for you. One person was wondering, what do you mean by live? I think you mentioned live earlier, and they're curious what that means.
With live file sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, it means that you can share immediately with someone.
Right.
So if I so needed, I could send you something right now, either via email or text message even. And if you were nearby, I could use AirDrop or Android Share nearby, depending on the type of device that you had. So that would mean real time.
Oh, actually, I apologize. They just clarified. They mean live in the photo?
Oh, so
Okay.
that would be, so the photos that were shown, that's a feature that my phone has, where whenever I take a photo, it really takes just a very short video,
Oh, yes.
which means
Okay.
whenever I play it, it will play a snippet that's about somewhere between a second and 3 seconds. So it's just catching a whole bunch of frames.
Mhm.
And it generally catches not only video, but audio too, which can be really amusing, especially with photographing pets. You can catch really their antics with that.
I gotcha. All right, let's see. We've got another question here. Someone's wondering about types of devices. Like say if someone's on an iPhone, another person's on an Android, are they able to share files between those devices?
Yes, absolutely. You'd be able to use a multitude of options, different applications you could share, as I mentioned, text message or email or Facebook. And there may be other applications that work directly with different features of your phones, like Bluetooth, that would enable you to share directly through Bluetooth. Normally, whenever I share with others who have an Android device and I'm using an iPhone or an iPad, etc., I'll ultimately end up using something via internet. So whether that's Facebook or generally it's email, but there are options to be able to share files between different types of devices.
Right, thank you. Someone would like to know, how secure is AirDrop?
So that's a pretty controversial question. That varies. That's why I really stress, if you're going to share files via AirDrop, be sure that you know who you're sending your files to. Especially, if you're in an airport or a public place, it's really important to know who's receiving your files. So that's why it's such a controversial question. And something that's nice about AirDrop is that if you were here and you were airdropping, say, a Word document to me or a file to me, but really you meant to go to, say, Lisa, but instead you clicked me, I have the option of not agreeing to accept your file, which means that I don't even see a preview or anything. It says, do you want to accept this airdrop from Chris?
Okay.
And you decide from there. So it also protects your privacy in that sense as well.
All right. Let's see, our time for a few more questions here. Someone is wondering about like battery and data plan usage. If they're sharing files, is that, like, say if it's a large file, I'm guessing, if you want to post a follow-up question, you can let me know. Is that going to affect their battery or their data plan if it's a large file?
Yes, it certainly can. Sending that takes energy, which means that it will draw on your battery, and definitely data, because you're transferring that file, and depending on the size, that can really eat into your data plan. Especially with large files, I would recommend trying to do so over Wi-Fi, because then usually it's not something that is metered and you can send kind of at your leisure. However, if it is a concern, you would want to look at how large your file is before deciding whether you want to send it, or to find a location that has Wi-Fi that you would be able to send your files from.
All right, let's see. Do we have any more questions? Oh, we got one more. They would like to know, I guess it's a issue of security and privacy. They're asking, okay, so they're wondering about like the free file sharing or ones that you pay for, like cloud services. Is there a better option, like that, something that's more secure or has better privacy safeguards, to your knowledge?
That's an excellent question, and I'm going to suggest that everyone, do their due diligence and research before making those choices for themselves.
Right.
With every platform or option, you're going to have pros and cons, and those pros and cons may differ between different people depending on what you're looking for.
Right.
So it really does differ, and just because something may be free doesn't mean that your privacy may be less protected, because it may be a feature that's added on to, say, an account that you already have. So those are considerations to keep in mind, but really definitely do your research before making that decision.
All right. Well, thank you, Chloe. I think that's it for questions. I'm going to go ahead and just, slide one away. If you'd like to contact the library, you can go online to the address here on the screen at hcplc.org/contact. And you can also go to our website and find out about upcoming programs and events. You can go to our calendar at hcplc.org/events. And also, I'd like to invite you all for our next tech topic this coming Wednesday, same time, same place. It's going to be two-factor authentication. So we look forward to that session. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for attending, and say thank you to Chloe, for the wonderful presentation. That was fantastic. All right, everyone. Yeah, that was great. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.